In this video, we will go over the form settings that can help customize the look and behavior of your form. Click Settings in the Guided Designer navigation bar to display the Form Properties wizard. From here, you can select from the tabs across the top to edit different settings. General Settings is where you can change the form name and description. General Settings also include several checkbox properties. Save Load displays a Save button at the top of your form, which is useful for lengthy forms where your users may not have all the information they need to complete the form in a single session. Save is checked by default. When checked, all submissions for this form will be stored in LiveForm's Submissions repository. Printable displays a print icon at the top of your form. Save PDF saves a snapshot of the form in the Submissions repository. When checked, an optional PDF name field displays. You can customize this with static and dynamic text, using templates to display form data. Let's call this one My Form, open curly brace, today's date, close curly brace. The saved file will be named My Form, followed by whatever date is entered in the date control. The CAPTCHA feature helps to protect your forms against spamming by automatic submitters. Check Allow Sign Pad to enable an external signature pad. In our Form Designer video, we looked at the decorator icons on the controls we added to our form. If you uncheck the decorated property, any newly added controls will not have a decorator icon. Force Auth will require users to log in to use this form, even if they are already authenticated. Show in History enables tasks for the form to appear in the task history searches. The Accessible property turns on features that can assist users with visual and motor impairments. The Show Logo property is checked by default and shows the Powered by frevvo logo on your form. The next tab over is Access Control, where you can set permissions for your form. You can configure who can start the form, edit the form, view submissions, or edit submissions. The Who Can Start the Form section allows you to make the form public to any user, login not required, public in tenant for authenticated users only, or designer only, which limits the availability and is a good option for temporarily restricting a form, such as during development. You can also customize the access by specifying users and/or roles that can start the form. Similarly, you can specify users and/or roles on each of the other sections. Control templates are valid here, so if, for example, you want the manager of the user who starts the form to be able to view submissions, you can have a control in the form for the manager's ID and then reference that control here inside curly braces. Next, you'll see the Messages tab. This is where you can configure the message that will display in the user's task list if they save a form to return to later. Use the Searchable Fields tab to set up your task and submission search criteria. Simply select the controls you want to be searchable and move them to the selected list using the arrows. You can also specify the order using the up and down arrows, which is the order they will display in your submissions table. Form actions allow you to customize the user's experience after they click Submit. Notice that you can configure both the success actions and the error actions. When the submission is successful, you can simply display a message using controls from your form to personalize it. You can also forward users to a web page, post data and documents to a web service and forward to a web page, or send users to PayPal to complete a payment. If there was a problem with the submission, you can ensure that the user sees a friendly, helpful message instead of a system-generated error. You could also forward them to a web page of your choice. Document actions are a powerful tool that allow you to determine what happens to your submitted documents and data. Notice that the wizard has 3 tabs: Send Documents, Send Data, and Additional Email. First, decide where your documents should be submitted. If you select Do Nothing, the submission will simply be saved to the built-in LiveForm Submissions repository. You can choose to send an email after submission. The 2 fields can be sent statically to any valid email or dynamically to an email entered in the form. You can personalize the subject and message of the email using values from your form, and you can decide to send frevvo's PDF snapshot of the form, and/or XML data, attachments, and mapped PDF forms as well. You may also choose one of our integration options. You can post to a web service, save to Google Drive, or send to file system. If you have our SharePoint connector configured, you will also see that option. Note that you can only choose one option to send documents here. If you would like to use an integration tool and also send an email when the form is submitted, or send 2 different emails, there is an additional email tab for that purpose. On the Send Data tab, you have the option to use our Google connector to post data to a Google Sheet, or manually set doc URIs to write to your database through our database connector. As we mentioned, you can choose to send an additional email with the same capabilities as the Send Documents email. Simply enable email, add your static or dynamic recipient, and customize the message and attachments. The Styles tab allows you to customize the width, layout, and other style properties for the form. You can also adjust the PDF snapshot print view by setting margins, picking a font, and adding a header and footer. Saved Fields is similar to searchable fields, but is connected to our legacy submissions view and export to Excel feature. You can use the Geolocation tab to pull in a Google map and/or collect location information. This can be helpful for forms completed remotely, such as a police incident report, because you can automatically log the user's address and location. Once you've customized your form settings, click Save to save them and continue working. Be sure to visit our form and workflow settings documentation for additional details on each of these properties. Thank you for watching.